right, how you guys doing? Hopefully you're hearing me all right. Now, this is something I only like about 30 minutes ago found out about as it came across my Facebook page. You know, the all usual updates and all that. And I thought it was quite interesting because I'm someone who designs logos. That's my favorite thing. I love design work. I do all our logos for all our comic books. Anything that I'm working on, I get out there and I do the logos first because it allows me to focus on what I'm going to do afterwards. I go, well, what's the name? This is the name. Okay, let's mess around with that after I put in the plot points, whatever, because it just gives me something to play with. But as someone who's done that for around 30 odd years, maybe even longer than that, whenever I see stuff about logos and design work, I'm, of course, have some, I kind of go, okay, yeah, I'm, hey, Savannah, how you doing, man? Yeah, thank you. Hey, yeah, so Savannah's someone that I met through my store, like, gosh, nearly a decade ago. He's from Germany. So thank you. Thank you, bud. Cheers. Right. So, and so design work for me is very important. Everything the logo is what people kind of see more often than they actually hear about the band or something like that. Of course, I've heard of Sick of It All as a band, right? I actually thought there might be a heavy metal band, but they're a punk band. So I'm going to play something off that so you understand who these guys are. They're from New York, right? Which is kind of interesting when we look at who the people they're suing is from. So let's have a look at some music. Okay, so this is their song, Step Down. Right? Right. Yep. And you can see the logo that's on here, right? The dragon. Right, that's all I'm going to play because I don't want to get copyright struck. So you can see straight away that's their logo, right? That's their album cover. It's there, that dragon. Now that's what they're suing over as a design of the, that's what I should have said, right? They're suing Mobb Deep, another New York group, over the use of their dragon logo, right? So this is, let me bring up Mobb Deep so you can hear about what Mobb Deep is saying about themselves, right? And here we go. This is Mobb Deep talking about life.
Hey, check this out. This is your boy Harry, representing Infamous Mobb Deep, and this is my life in 60 seconds. Where do I start? I was born in Brooklyn, New York, raised in Queens. All my life I've been an artist. I love to draw. So I applied for the School of Art and Design. And art and design is where I actually met Prodigy. He was a solo artist. I was a solo artist. And we had this great idea to, make a group together. So we started recording tracks, listened to my demo, and standing in front of Def Jam until somebody listened and actually let us in the building. One thing led to another. We meet Q-Tip, Chris Lighty, all these great people. And we made an album.
He's an artist.
It didn't do so good.
Right.
And luckily we
introduced
to Steve Rifkin,
so
who liked us off the bat and said, do what you want to do. And we
very important to note that.
It catapulted us to heights that I couldn't even imagine. And here we are 25 years later.
Right. That's another important thing. 25 years later. Sick of It All has been around for 30 years in the scene, and they're from New York. Two groups from New York, 5 years apart. One's, hey, I went to design school. That's where I met this other dude, and that's where we came up with it. And that's both of those guys who are being being sued. That's Mobb Deep and Havoc. All right. So I want to get you some news stuff here so we can look at that. Now, let's see. Where are you? Windows. No. Give me 1 second. So this is what's going on, right? Let me just get that over to there so you guys can see a bigger image. So Mobb Deep, Prodigy's Estate, Supreme, and others sued for trademark infringement over 35-year-old logo, right? So Now it's not just 30 years, it's 35 years. A logo that's been used by Sick of It All has been used, has had it as their thing for 35 years. So that's 10 years more than these guys have been around. Now, you can say, oh, you know, what's a big deal? The big deal is here is that I'm someone who's actually been through this process myself, where I've had my own IP logo ripped for something that's already out there in the TV land, right? As part of a costume for a superhero, right? And something I created way back in 2002. Now, you can say, well, you know, you weren't using it or something. Yep, but I was, right? It was on clothing. And the other thing I want to write here, it's clothing, right? So as well, so I kind of feel like this kind of like, you know, it has a lot to do with, I mean, design's amazing stuff. Like, you know, design's something that you put out there, you know, it's something that you stand behind. Like if you see this, right, the Stranger Things logo, you know what that straight away implies, right? And same thing like this, right, with Band Pestra, right? That's their logo. And if you started to use that on something else, you go, well, it's on clothing, it doesn't matter. Yeah, but it's their logo. You can't just nilly-nilly use it for something else. And you know, and I think the idea that you know, people in this day and age can just take things and use it without the knowledge of other people and think that's going to be, you know, that are going to be found out is silly. So let me bring up this. Give me 1 second. I'll get more detail on this because this is not going to be a long. This won't be a long podcast live stream. So, but I just want to show you some quick things. So this is the design that they're going, you know, that Sick of It All, the punk rock band from New York. I'm not sure if it's Brooklyn, but from New York, right? Saying it's theirs. Of course it's theirs, right? They design it. Look at the way everything there. So what they do when they go into, you know, the court case, they go, this is how all the bandy bits, you know, they go around the tail. There's, when you go further up from the tail, you got another bandy bit, the wing at the bottom, and then you got the other wing at the top, or is it, sorry, not the wing, the arm, you know, so on, and the other leg. I'm getting mixed up here. So you got the leg on the left, on the right, and then got a leg on the left. So you see where they're placed. You go where the arms are placed, where the wings are placed, and so on. And then you go here and you go, wait, it's the same thing, but they just made it thicker, right? So you go, oh, then it's theirs, right? But no, because you see, not much has changed apart from here. See how it's like at the tail there is a little thing there, that little swerve at the bottom there, as you come up here. See, it's been taken away, and now they're claiming it's theirs. So you take one thing away. When I was at art school, right, they said, design school, I should say, because I did a whole two and a bit years in craft design, right, which is basically you design chairs, you design jewelry, everything you do, right? So you could, you know, however, to make it ergonomical, ergonomical, you know, so it's comfortable and all that stuff, works with the human body. So when you look at it like this, right, you can see there isn't much difference here in the way it's placed out. Like even with the at the top here, just under the head, the swerve back into the arm, right? You can say, it looks too different. It looks too different. But when you really think about it, it's not so different. I've got other images here. Let me see, which kind of, let me go back here. So these guys, right, they've basically got a deal with a clothing label called Supreme, right? And so Supreme is kind of like your average everyday kind of, you know, casual wear, not something major, right? So this is the update on that. So the camp of veteran New York City hardcore outfit Sick of It All have filed suit against multi-platinum hip-hop outfit Mobb Deep, that's Havoc and Prodigy, and lifestyle brand Supreme over a logo dispute. Bush Baby Samaga Inc., who oversee the trademarks and IP for Sick of It All, have filed suit for infringement, copyright infringement over and this is from the what is that? PRP, who oversee the trademarks of and IP for Sick of It All, have filed suit for copyright infringement over a logo utilized by Mobb Deep and Supreme on a clothing collaboration earlier this year. The design in question is a dragon, which Sick of It All claimed to have been using since 1987, guys. That's a long time. Mobb Deep's version of said logo, meanwhile, has been used by the group since since the mid-90s. The suit seeks to block the Mobb Deep camp and Supreme from future usage of the design and also seek compensatory damages. Now, you can say, well, why is it taking so long? Well, the thing is, now it's becoming out there, right? It's like become more popular, and these guys have just gone around and using it, and a lot of times, this is what's gonna cause it. It's a smart move. Personally, I think it's a smart move because sometimes you just got to wait to see, well, how much more are they gonna, how much more rope, right? And I'm trying to use that in a, kind of not in disgusting way, but I'm just saying how much more rope are you going to allow them to have before they hang themselves, right? So now they've given them so much rope that now that even a clothing brand is involved, which means now that they can go after it and secure the rights to their logo that they own, right? You can't say they don't own it because it's their logo, that's a design. These guys have just slightly changed it, very slightly, not even 15%. Right, it's probably less, like about 5%. It's just one little bits out of it, so but that much of it, 100%. So, right, so yeah, so a copyright infringement, a copy of the complaint has been obtained by hiphopdx.com, who have posted it online. I've got that here now. So the update here is on the 17th, as pointed out by commentator CMA 3583. Right. Sick of It All and Mobb Deep previously collaborated together on the 1990 rap metal compilation Loud Rocks, teaming up for a copy of Survival of the Fittest. Okay, which is kind of interesting. Let's have a look.
We live in this till the day that we die. Survival of the fit. That I can't say, so what's left an untold fact. Until my death, my goal is to stay alive. Survival of the fit, only the strong survive. Yeah, we live in this.
So it's a good sound, actually. I kind of like that. Might have to check that Loud Rocks there. All right, so they, like I said, Survival of the Fittest, they collaborated. So what has caused this, right? So it's the logo, right? So obviously these guys knew, Mobb Deep and them knew that these guys were, have used a logo, and they could have, said, hey, maybe cut it out, or, it's our logo and stuff. And, maybe you shouldn't do that, or, let's step back from that, or whatever, these guys, at the end of the day, you can try to come across and, try to fix things ahead of time, but sometimes people, they go, well, I guess we're okay because we work together. So, you're not going to, you're not going to come after us stuff. But the problem here is there's a lot of money involved, right? I think when it comes down to it, when you're creating something, you got to be very careful what's already out there. When I was creating a character recently, well, not recently, but a character that I've, you know, I designed and I wrote about as a script for a comic book a while back, and we're one page away from like finishing. I'm just waiting for one of my artists to finish up other work and finish it so we can finish that #1 issue. But you know, I call the character the hero, and then I gave him the H as the logo. But then I was like, well, what can I, you know, what can I give him as a thing? Like, it can't be just a hero, right? So about 10 years later, I'm thinking, now that we're going to make this happen, the artwork is going to be done, and we're going to rewrite the whole script to make it work, because I wrote it as a TV show, right? But then I thought, what's already out there? And then you got to like go, okay, well, what does the actual logo look like that's going to stand out? As someone who does comic book character logos and design specifically for costumes, and actually the way costumes look on the characters and what it's in regards to, like you've seen my, you know, you've seen my, I mean, I've spoken enough about it, about my Incredi-Girl logo, right? An Incredi-Girl character. So, you know, the red, white, and blue, you know, why the red, white, and blue? Because it's in red, white, and blue is in our flag, New Zealand flag. You know, well, why don't you use some, you know, the black and gold, or black and silver, you know, because we're more recognized as the All Blacks with the silver ferns and all that. And I thought, yeah, that would be cool, but kind of dark, you know. Plus, it's also Batman's got the black, you know, black and silver. So, but one of the things that really came up interesting is like, by the time I end up with the reverse G, right, the backwards G here, you can see it took me around about maybe a decade by the time I settled on that logo, because I had so many different design designs processes I went through to decide which one I wanted to do and end up with which I was comfortable with, and that was it. And then I posted online when we were doing the Kickstarter, and somebody actually goes, why is the G backwards? I'm like, the fact that it stood out to you. All right, so if it was the other way, you'd be like, it kind of, you know, it doesn't stand out, right? It's just a G with it, right? But I thought, do it backwards. I like it. It's circle, you know, it stands out in a way that's really, you know, interesting, because it's like I, and then you pull back and G, because otherwise, if you see the G first, you think it's G is the most important thing. So it's girl, incredible, right? Incredible. But like, if you look at it, it's eyes, where your eyes go to first, in the middle there. So yeah. So, but that's why I think logos are important. There's a process to it. I'm sure when Sikavoodle was designed their logo, whoever designed it for them, it took them a while to get to that dragon logo. And so it means a lot more than just, oh yeah, we just did this and like, here it is. And so they want to protect it. But as I was talking about earlier, just as a finish up here, right, is that these guys have had this logo for a long time. But the other thing is they've collaborated with Thing 13 years ago, right, on a song. And the other thing is that, you know, something about the 1990s. What was that about the 1990s? Give me one sec. So, yeah, so they've been using it for 1990s, and the group, Mobb Deep's version is from since the 1990s, right? So Mobb Deep has been using the dragon from the 1990s. But here's the thing. They could have used any logo for the dragon, right? If they wanted to establish themselves with Supreme, right, with a everyday wear label, they could have like done a totally different one to actually go, this is our new logo, and that would have been more impressive. There wouldn't be so this big hoo-ha about it, but they could have went, okay, we're going to use the logo, but here's a different twist to it, right? We could do a couple swirls on the tail, or, you know, maybe put some horns on the dragon, something that's totally stands out, and they could have established it in a more major way. So I think as a commentator, right, my opinion is that they could have done this with it, and they could have made a major impact by reestablishing their own logo. But the fact that they use the same one kind of defeats their rights to, well, I'm not a judge, right? But it defeats their reasoning behind trying to say, oh, it's our logo, I'm projecting it. But the fact here is, someone who's been around for 37 years with that logo, and they're going to go, well, I don't care if you guys had, thought we were right. The fact is, now you're trying to brand yourself in another medium with our logo. But the other thing here is that there's more money involved now. Now you've got Supreme, who's got to basically destroy all that work, right? And now they're not going to have anything to do with Mobb Deep, right? Because of that, or maybe they do. We don't know how things like these work in the back channels, right? Maybe they get rid of the whole idea of having these guys go out there and do work with them again. But there's a huge opportunity Mobb Deep missed out on, and there's a huge opportunity for Sick of It All to make a lot of money from this, right? And two brands are going to be damaged by this: Supreme as well as Mobb Deep, because of this behavior of, and then just my armchair commentator, as someone who's doing this out of on the point of view of logos. Now, as you notice that everything I actually when I put out, I always put a TM behind it. That's because even this, like the logo here you see in front of you, right, the Incredi-Girl logo, that's even the name took me a while to come up with it. So whenever I come up with something like the design of the name, right, the name itself was created by my brother-in-law, right, but at the end of the day, when you're out here claiming to be a design person, claiming to be someone who's doing all this stuff, you really got to know. You should know better, right? Mobb Deep should know better than this, because he's an artist, right? He says, oh, we met together at art school, we design school, we got so we set it all up, we became artists and all this. You should know better. There's too many creative people out there just taking other people's work and claiming it as their own. Laziness. Like I said, even if it was me, I would mess with it. Like if I was going to use a dragon logo, I would mess with it hardcore to get until I'm satisfied with the way it looks. That's totally different from anybody else's, right? Nobody can ever claim that the IG that I have on my Incredi-Girl logo is the same as anybody else's, because I can show all decades, 15 odd years of like different logos and design to get to this circle eye, right? And like I said, I've had people steal logos from me, so I know what it's like. And so it doesn't matter how old it is, how long ago, what was the situation. That's the date. This is the processes. I have it on established on other stuff. If you go, okay, but we put it out first in the public. That doesn't matter. It's when it was established. Can you timeline it? And therefore, so yeah. And as I mentioned before, there's a logo that I have that we're gonna, that's going to be on a costume for superhero, right? And everything, all sorted. Design's been out there for years. It's part of our company, and it's it's going to become the lead in this thing. So it's like a icon, company brand type thing. So I understand about logos to a certain thing, not like totally on a legal point of view, but I've had enough legal insight into it that I know you got to at least do 15% to change the logo before you can claim it's yours. That it's new, right? And I don't think these guys have. All they've done is thickened it and taken away the tail, right? So yeah, I don't see this as a win for Mobb Deep. I just see it a loss for Mobb Deep and Supreme. That's a lot of money. It's an international brand. Of course, everybody's going to go, who's Mobb Deep now and who's sick of it all, which is good for both bands, right? They get to, you got the metal, punk, and you got the hip hop. But anyway, that's all I got to say, guys. Hopefully, you guys check it out for yourself. But as an advice, do a lot of searching online, right? Google, man. Google's your friend. Like if you got some sort of design work or name brand thing, go check it out. Make sure you're doing as much search as possible. IP offices, branding things, copyright companies. Like even our government in New Zealand has I think it's companies. Let me just grab that for you guys if you're as Kiwis, right? ipons.co.nz, I think it is, or is it .gov? Yep, here we go. So this is the New Zealand, right? So this is a New Zealand branch for checking out for Kiwis, right? Kiwis, even if you don't know what's going on overseas and stuff, you want to know what's going on in New Zealand with copyright and stuff like that. This is where you go, man. Right? Intellectual properties. All right. Go check it out. Make sure that you're registering your logo. I even advised someone in about 2018 who had created a game, right? I think it was Torben. And I said, he goes, I've got this game. I'm going to show it off. I said, hey, have you registered it? Have you copyrighted it? Have you put it out there with ipons? Don't tell me what the story is. I don't want to know. And I think you should do that before. It's going to cost you a couple bucks, but guess what? It's going to protect your work, right? So that's what you got to understand, guys. Protect your work. Make sure you know what you're doing. Yeah. So because some people will come and take it. They might take it 10 years from now. And you go, but yeah, I did it. I put it way back. Did you register it? Did you protect it? Do you have it written down? Do you have the initial designs? Did you show it to people? Do people see it? Is it on clothing? Right? All this stuff. Make sure you protect yourself out there because the world is changing. I've seen my friends' artwork getting stolen and put on t-shirts coming out of China and them selling for $60. And my friend gets nothing. Right? So you gotta protect yourself out here. And the other thing is, a lot of artists don't have the money to fight this, right? And I think, there's got to be a better way for Kiwis to be able to be protected. And I think there should be some sort of setup for governmental setup where there is actually money going towards protecting copyright of artists' work and creative works who can't protect themselves due to lack of funds. And I think, that's something our government needs to look at. Our politicians need to look at, especially in the creative field, right? And why not? Our creatives produce so much amazing work out here. So I'm going to leave you with this. This is our own New Zealand, New Zealand band. Let me make sure.
I'm going to love this one, Kimbo. This is not a party band for you.
All right, so please check them out. This is my friends, Wave Pig Band, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh, not next time, tonight. We'll see you guys tonight in about another 7 hours time. We've got Ansang. Cheers, guys. Ka kite anō. Wherever you are, be well, be safe, and love your hug ones if they're close by. You don't know what tomorrow's going to hold. So be well. Thank you for joining and watching.